Two actions by the U.S. Supreme Court are the topics we're covering on this week's installment of Rochelle's Daily Wire Video Edition. The first was a decision by the Supreme Court in a case involving Puerto Rico's restructuring under that federal statute known as PROMESA. As we know, Puerto Rico and its instrumentalities are suffering from an overwhelming amount of debt that they cannot possibly pay, and Congress created the PROMESA statute so that they could restructure and eliminate some of their debt. One of the prominent bondholders filed a lawsuit alleging that the PROMESA Oversight Board was unconstitutionally constructed because its members were not nominated by the President and confirmed by the Senate. Last year, the First Circuit agreed with that argument and held that the construction of the board was unconstitutional. The case was argued in the Supreme Court on October 15, the second week of the term, and frankly, we have been expecting a decision for many weeks now. Well, on Monday of this week, they handed down the decision, reversed the First Circuit, and ruled that confirmation by the Senate was not necessary. The second action is an action the Supreme Court, in a way, did not take because also on Monday, the justices denied certiorari to the Second Circuit in a very important bankruptcy case arising from the Madoff Ponzi scheme liquidation under the Securities Investor Protection Act. And of course, for those of you who may not know, the SIPA liquidations are conducted in the bankruptcy court, and the SIPA Act, in effect, brings in large swaths of the bankruptcy code. As it turned out, in the Madoff liquidation, district judge had held that suing foreign subsequent recipients of fraudulent transfers was not something that a trustee could do. The district court held that as a matter of comity and as a matter of the presumption of against extraterritorial application of U.S. statutes, the trustee could not sue foreign subsequent recipients of fraudulent transfers. Well, thank goodness, the Second Circuit reversed the district court and held that, in fact, it was really a domestic transfer because these transfers first came from a bank in New York, then to an offshore feeder fund, and then to some of those feeder funds, supposedly offshore investors. The Second Circuit said, no, it's really a domestic transfer because that's where it all began. The hedge funds who lost filed a petition for certiorari, and as I said, on Monday, the Supreme Court denied that petition, I think in large part because there was no conflict of circuits. And also, by the way, the U.S. Solicitor General advised the Supreme Court that, in his opinion, the Second Circuit made the right decision. And this is important in bankruptcy generally because it means that bankruptcy trustees can indeed sue recipients of fraudulent transfers even though they are abroad. I am Bill Rochelle, the Editor-at-Large for American Bankruptcy Institute. I shall return next week with something I hope interesting that has happened in the world of bankruptcy. Until then, stay home, be safe. We'll see you next week. Good day.